the season. Dumped in behind the Phoenix net. A hard collision there, and the retaliation. Here goes the fight as play carries on. The action has been whistled down as Mayhem continues behind the net. It is the Gulls' newest, Steve Martinson, and he takes the Roadrunner player to the ice, and Martin has quickly gotten into it in his first game as a San Diego Gull, battling with Steve Jaques. And welcome to San Diego, Steve Martinson.
Well, Martinson's a tough kid. There's no question about that. Playing with Montreal and Sherbrooke in the American League as well. He's known as a player that can handle himself, so he'll take a little rest here for 5 minutes, but I expect those penalties will be equal. They just kind of decided to square off. Jaques has 19 penalty minutes already this year, so it looks like he likes to play the rough brand of hockey as well.
I know, Sandy, that Mike O'Connell had very specific instructions, knowing about the players' propensity for scrapping, but he doesn't want him to take bad penalties. All right, that's 1-1, etc.
Well, Mike's going to be pleased with this one because Jaques has picked up an extra 2.
Comes one, came off the board, grabbed quickly by Goverde with Martinson, and here we go. It is Martinson and Jaques. Martinson connecting with several early quick rights.
Jaques never even dropped his stick and gloves. I don't know if he knew he was in a fight yet, but he got up high with the stick on Martinson there, and Martinson went right after him, but Jaques didn't want anything to do with Steve Martinson. He just kind of covered up as best he could and backed away. We have to see what the call is here from the referee. If they're majors at all, I would think Steve Martinson's going to end up with the instigator extra 2 minutes.
Well, the score is 1-0, and as the play came near the Phoenix net, that started.
Well, Martinson was tied up by a couple of guys there, and it looked like Jaques took a little shot at him with the foot, too, where he kicked at his feet. And the words were exchanged briefly, and then Martinson just dropped the stick and gloves and started swinging. Jaques quickly tried to cover up.
We're stopped as
Superja is hurt, and I think they basically asked for a stoppage in play as he was limping to the box.
Martinson is standing in front of the Phoenix bench saying something. Now here we go. Martinson and Jaques. Martinson and Jaques scoring. Jaques got a couple in there, and they went down in a pile.
Jaques was throwing them pretty good.
Well, he instigated it.
Now, they had a brief conversation there. Jaques is the man that Goverde was looking for earlier down there in that face-off area after having a stick go up into his face.
Martinson seems to have been injured. He's favoring his right leg as he heads toward the San Diego exit, helped by Jones and Robbie Nichols.
Superja also leaving as Superja had been hurt, and that caused the stoppage in play in the first place. I didn't see what happened to him, whether Jaques was involved in that or not. I don't know if we have any kind of a replay of it, but Martinson went over in front of the Phoenix box, and
possibly in being twisted down to the ice, he twisted his leg.
I think that's what happened to Martinson down here in front of the players' box, where we couldn't see with all the fans.
We're going to have more here, Sandy, in just a second.
And Nichols, as we said earlier, likes to stir things up. He's constantly talking. So now MacDonald gets in there. If Hayward couldn't go with Nichols, MacDonald came over and he thought he might go with him.
Tuer is lined up, talking it over with Hayward. Officials trying to keep them apart. Phoenix, a frustrated hockey club. That's the reason for all of this.
There's 6 white shirts out there now to Phoenix's 5. That can cause a problem if someone has come from the bench. Now, no one's come from the Phoenix bench yet. But, the thing is, with the linesman and referee really have their hands full. Now, Coach Mike O'Connell calling to make sure Sullivan gets off the ice there, so they only have 5 out there, just in case anyone notices and thinks someone came from the bench. the lines were still basically...
Back out to center ice. Puck in front of the penalty box area. Rolacek digging it away from Brian Blatt, but the puck controlled quickly by Clouston. And now Cam Brown going after Rolacek, and then it's Cam Brown taking on a different player for the Phoenix Roadrunners. Cam Brown throwing some punches right along the near boards. Cam Brown, first of all, went after Jeff Rolacek, and then it was the Phoenix Roadrunners. Steve Jaques. Looking after it on the far boards, Antaski. Antaski put a good solid check on one of the defensemen for the Roadrunners. Now back to the far point. Newmeyer to the near point for Boyd. A slap shot. Save made by Goverde. A puck loose. We got a fight. And it's Steve Jaques and Shawn Antaski. Shawn Antaski and Steve Jaques going at it. Throwing punches wildly was Steve Jaques, and the two players fall to the ice. Let's take time out here inside a very noisy Bradley Center. Penalties will be called against Antoski for Milwaukee. Zone. Now Milwaukee back out to center ice. Hawkins at the red line. A long slap shot. Save made by Goslin. And the puck is fired back out to center ice. Hawkins with it. Now behind. We got a fight. And it's Steve Jaques taking on Shawn Antaski. Antaski a couple rights. A good couple rights by Steve Jaques. And they're trading punches. Shawn Antaski and Steve Jaques trading punches. Oh, a good solid right by Antaski. Another left by Antaski. Another right by Antaski. An uppercut by Antaski. Another shot by Antaski. Oh, Steve Jaques has really taken it. Steve Jaques now counters with a right of his own. And then down goes Steve Jaques. Oh my, what a fight that was. Both Steve Jaques and Shawn Antaski throwing punches wildly, but they were connecting. And Antaski, by all means, wins the decision there on a TKO.
At it by Sommier. Then it went off to the net. Terrific pressure right now by Phoenix. And then there's going to be some problem here. They're having at it.
This whole melee here started when Darcy Norton was going to be called for a tripping penalty, and Phoenix's Steve Jaques took exception to the trip, and he came across and blindsided Darcy Norton with a cross-check. That's Darcy Norton down against the boards. He was cross-checked by Steve Jaques, blindsided, a real cheap shot, and then two other players got into it along the corner. Now here comes the penalty. There's Norton. He slashed down Van Kessel, and there's Jaques coming by and just flattening Norton, and then Jaques will turn around, and he'll slug it out with Dave Korol, and then Rolacek and Hall tie up. But it all started when Norton slashed Van Kessel. Jaques didn't like that, so he cross-checked Norton, and then Korol came over. He got in a little battle with Jaques, and so Korol is down on the ice, and Larry Roberts is looking at him right now. And meanwhile, we're going to take a break here with 12:04 remaining in the game, and Phoenix in control, 5-2.
Join you here in Phoenix. It's a hot time in the old town tonight. The boys got a little carried away for the moment, and right now they're trying to sort it all out. You can see a string of players in front of the penalty timekeeper and referee Dave Cassidy, and the linesmen Pat Dunn and Don Moffat trying to sort it out.
You're definitely going to get a slashing penalty against Darcy Norton. That's what started the whole mess. And then Steve Jaques came in with a cross-checking penalty, and he'll pick up at least one of those, and then several other players getting involved.
Chris, you don't see the penalty timekeeper standing on the ice very often, like you're looking at that penalty timekeeper right now.
Well, he's got plenty of penalties to sort out. There's Steve Dykstra sitting in the penalty box alongside Darcy Norton. Dykstra came in to come to Norton's aid, really, on that play. I mean, really a cheap shot by Steve Jaques coming across with a blind-sided cross-check. Darcy Norton kind of laughing about things right now, but
you want another look at it?
Then.
You want another look at it?
Well, let's take one.
Let's get Tom to have us give us another look at it.
Now watch Norton. There's the slash right there as he hits Carjalena. Now watch. Here comes Jaques. Boom. Right there with Norton not even looking. And then Davey Korol's going to come in to the defense of Norton. He takes a shot from Jaques. Rolacek and Hall tie up, and they kind of get out of the way. And there comes Dykstra to come in with Duguay, and Van Kessel pushes Dykstra from behind. He grabs Duguay. Hey, I'll tell you, we're not doing a bad job describing this action.
This is not fight night, but this is hockey night at Veterans Coliseum in Phoenix, Arizona. The Gulls trailing 5-2, mostly because they came out and started slowly in the third period. It was a whale of a hockey game.
Another one.